Hello and welcome to this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show, where my guest today is Shander Davis. She is the CEO and founder of Progress Arts Group. Their mission is to educate and create opportunities through the arts. My second guest is Miss Janice Peterson, and her organization is entitled or called Isanaj, and her organization is designed to help women and to mentor young girls. You guys stick around. This is going to be a great show. All right? We'll see you in just a moment. Hello and welcome to this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show. My guest today is none other than Miss Janice Peterson. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Now, yeah, for those of you that may not know, Janice Peterson is a recording artist, gospel recording artist. Let me get that right. Not only that, but she is also the co-founder of the nonprofit that's called
Isanaj.
Isanaj. There it is. Isanaj. I'm trying to find it on my notes. Couldn't find it on my notes. Isanaj. Now tell me a little bit more about Isanaj.
Okay. Isanaj is an organization that I founded, and it's geared toward mentoring women and also young girls in the areas of character development and healthy self-esteem.
All right. Well, she just spit that right out. You know what? I think that's so important. Now, when you talk about girls and building self-esteem, how do you actually find these girls to bring them into the organization so that you can train them and mentor them?
Well, actually, it's about networking and meeting people, and of course, with what I do as an artist and being also a minister in my church and just actively involved in the community, I just tend to run across people that have a need, and of course it's a great need in the community, and anywhere you go it's there, it exists. Yeah. I just think that a lot of people have not paid it any attention, but for those of us who are called to mentor, it's something that we observe and we catch right away. And when I meet people, of course, you give that business card out, and everybody's always like, oh, yes, this is so needed. Oh, my God, I have a daughter, or I have a niece, or I have a neighbor, or my church needs something like this. And that's how it gets started, and just network and build from there.
Yeah. And you know what, that is needed, because we see so many young girls out in the society,
exactly,
actually, that they seem kind of wayward.
Right,
and
exactly.
Right now we're seeing them filled with piercings and tattoos, and we're not judging when we're talking about this particular issue, not at all. But a lot of times when they're doing these types of things, it lends itself to other things that can take place in their lives.
It does.
And I always say this: so much starts from the home.
It does. It all starts in the home.
The home is the foundation, and sometimes when you don't have the parental guidance, you could have a mother that's working constantly that just can't be there for that daughter the way that she needs her mom to be there. I'm sure that's where you come in.
Yes, it is. One thing that I discovered just this summer, actually I discovered it prior to then, but this summer we launched a girls' summer camp with Lakeland Baptist Church.
Okay.
And TUCK, a newly formed organization, TUCK standing for Train Up a Child. And in working with those girls in that program, we discovered that a lot of them lacked some things in home life that some of us have been privileged to have.
Yeah.
And so you can tell the deficit, and some of them are aware of the deficit. That was the amazing thing. Some of the girls expressed some of the things that they were missing. They knew that it was a missing component, and they reached out. They knew that we were truly concerned about their well-being, and they were, we provided classes that allowed them a forum to be able to speak and express themselves. And young girls, they want to be heard. And in working with those young girls, we were able to encourage them in the areas that they're not being affirmed in at home, or maybe some areas that they're not familiar with. Maybe they haven't been taught or refined in certain areas regarding moral standards, and they were enlightened by some of the character principles that we shared with them.
Yeah. Okay, now speaking of character principles, what are some of those character principles?
We taught on responsibility, accountability, integrity, conflict resolution, anger management, bullying, effective communication. Those are the things associated with principles and character principles, and the list goes on. But those are some of the key things. And I don't know if I mentioned integrity, but that was one of the other items on the list that we addressed.
Yeah, yeah. When you talk about integrity, it follows you the rest of your life.
It does.
You know, and when you're a person of integrity, so often, you know, you get blessed by
Oh, of course.
the integrity.
You do.
And so often in society, we find kids that are not operating with that type
Right.
of integrity. And integrity doesn't just fall within truth and lies,
Right.
but in how authentic you are as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It speaks about who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing that we did our very best to role play with them, because a lot of times people, children, young girls,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know our youth
Yeah.
overall. They don't know what integrity looks like.
Mm.
The question is, what does that look like? You know, and a lot of times we say, you know, our children are just not responsible anymore. They're just not accountable. Well, have you ever thought about, they don't know what that looks like because they
Yeah.
don't have that at home. And so they need a picture of what does integrity look like.
Right.
What does responsibility look like? And I think if they had an example in the home
Mm-hmm.
of what that looks like, then you would see them operate in that area. But as I had mentioned before, Bishop Jake says it so well, you can't make any withdrawals where there have not been any deposits.
Right.
So the things that we expect from our young people, they have to be taught. And until we make special effort as mentors and teachers and pastors, just coming together and putting forth a great effort
Right.
to impact the lives of these young people through education and workshops and what have you, because we're going to have to help the parents do what it is
Yes.
that they don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? So often the parents don't have that foundation themselves.
They don't.
And so what ends up happening is that they just continue to perpetuate
Exactly.
for generations and generations. And
Exactly.
therefore people are remaining the same.
Exactly.
And change isn't taking
Exactly.
place. I want to ask you, what's one of the main issues that you think plague the young girls in our society today?
I think not to say that single parents don't do a great job in rearing their children, because I know so many single parents that do a phenomenal job. But I think the one of the main problems is the fact that there are not two parents in the home. And even if there's not two parents in the home, there are not two proactive parents working together. Because the two parents don't have to be in the home together. But if they could have a working relationship, maybe the relationship or the marriage didn't work, but if they could come together with a common good in mind concerning the child, let's put our personal differences aside,
Absolutely.
mom, dad, and work in the best interest of the child. I may not like what you did, or
Right.
it didn't work between us, but for the sake of the child, let's come together
Right.
and so that we can affirm that daughter, affirm that young man,
Yeah.
and make those deposits that are necessary for them to be a whole and complete human being.
Mm-hmm. And so often, man, this is great. What happens is that when they're not affirmed in the house, in the home, they go out into the world
And they
looking
look
for
for
that
other places.
affirming. And a lot of times it's in a negative place.
Right.
And so it leads them down a path of negativity.
Right.
Therefore, traumatic things will happen in
Right.
their lives. And so if we can nip it in the bud
Yes.
at the early
on.
stages,
Early
come
on.
on now,
Early on.
then that way we can prevent some things from taking place.
Right.
Yeah. Now I know mother and daughter relationships is one of your big things.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that specifically.
Okay. Well, one thing I noticed is that we have a lot of moms and daughters, moms that want to be friends to their daughters. And it's nothing wrong with a mother so-called befriending her daughter, but you have to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
The mother, I can so appreciate the relationship that I have with my mom. My mother always told me that I could talk to her about anything, and she tried her best to educate me on the things she felt I needed to know. But at the same time, she distinguished between her being my coach, my mom, my disciplinarian, but she was not common with me in the sense that I could be that friend, and we were going out to the club together. We were going out on dates together. I mean, couldn't do. I mean, of course, my mother was married, but I'm just saying.
I know
but
exactly
you
what you're
understand
saying.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There has to be that respect there, and there's nothing wrong with having that relationship with mom where you go and have good times. Because my mother and I, we went to the movies together. We would go and have dinner, girl days. We'd go get our hair done, what have you. Nothing wrong with that.
And you know what? That's all a part of nurturing you as
It
a
is,
woman and teaching
and
you how
she
to properly take
nurtured
care of
me.
yourself.
And
you know what? We're going to keep on talking about you and your mama and all that she did in the nurturing process of just Janice Peterson when we come back in just a moment. So you guys stick around.
Sky Trues Custom Eyewear has taken the world by storm. In only 8 months, Sky Trues has gained the eyes of many, including celebs like Big Sean, Little Flip, Destiny's Child, Soulja Boy, just to name a few. Through custom design, Sky Trues can put your imagination on your frames. I bring to you the next big thing in Houston, Sky Trues, created by Golden Boy, the musician, the artist, the entrepreneur, and grassroots marketing genius. Be inspired. Sky Trues, custom designed frames. Sky Trues.
All right, welcome back to this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show, where my guest is Miss Janice Peterson. Janice, thank you just for taking time out of your schedule to come and talk to me about your wonderful nonprofit organization that's helping young ladies and mentoring them and trying to make them better women for the world to see. And the good thing about mentoring people is that once you mentor someone, it's like you plant a seed.
You do.
And that person can then take that seed back, replant it, and make
Yes.
other things grow from
Right.
it. And that's the beauty of mentorship.
Yes.
So I just commend you.
Oh, thank you.
I definitely
My
commend you
pleasure.
for taking that ball and running with it. To make a difference in society. And with all of our lives, with whatever we do, we want to make a difference in the lives of others, because that makes our life worth living.
It does indeed. It makes a big difference in life. One thing that I'm very passionate about is living my life in such a way that it does impact the generation of today and the generations to come. I think that all of us have been given gifts and talents that are supposed to benefit others. We don't always discover what those gifts and talents are, and that's one of the passions of Easonage, is to help young mothers and also young girls discover who they are and help them realize their God-given potential.
Yeah. Now, Easonage, that is actually the name of your
Organization. And it's my name spelled in reverse.
Which is her name spelled in reverse. So she kind of did that Oprah Harpo thing,
Indeed.
And I found that interesting. A lot of times when we see successful people, I think it's important that we kind of emulate those people along our journey so that they can make us better.
Sure.
And that's what it's all about.
And that's what it's about. Mentorship is like that too. When you're mentoring, you need to be the example. A lot of people try to mentor people, but they're not actually living what they're teaching. And that's what makes your mentorship more impactful, because one thing about our youth, they know scam. They recognize
very sharp,
fake.
very clever. You're right.
They recognize, they know when you care. It doesn't take a whole lot to win young people over. They know when you genuinely care about them because it's in your heart and they can sense it right away.
Yeah. And speaking of genuinely caring, I know you genuinely care about mother-daughter relationships.
I do.
Now, why is that such a sensitive topic for you, or what makes you want to expound on that a little bit more, Janice?
Well, I look back at my life, and I'm grateful to God for the relationship that I had with my mother. And I say had because my mother's passed on. But I thank God for what she deposited in me. She taught me how to be a lady, and she taught me how to be self-respecting and respectful towards others. And she was a lady of character. She always dressed very pretty. She was that kind of lady that wore the slip under the dress, and because you didn't need to be showing your business, all that kind of stuff. But she was prim and proper, and not sedity, but she was a lady that she just believed in everything being done in excellence, and so that rubbed off on me. And because I interact with a lot of moms and daughters, and I see, I see less than excellence with so many of our mothers and daughters. And it's not a put down, because as I said, you can't expect anything or make any withdrawals where there have not been any deposits. Because one thing that I've discovered is that a lot of times people act the way that they do or respond in the way that they do because they don't know anything else. So they have to be taught something else. They have to be shown something on the positive side, or a side that would enlighten them, educate them. I can't stress that enough. Education is so very, very important.
Right. And I have to agree with you. Education is everything.
It is. It's everything.
Education is everything. I want to ask you, how do people find out about your wonderful organization?
Well, they can go to my website, and it's at www.esinaj.org, and Esinaj is spelled ECINAJ.org. Or you can contact me at 713-471-3523.
And there you have it, folks. That's the information. So if you guys have a group of women that might want, or young girls rather, that might want mentorship and things of that nature, you can certainly contact Miss Janice Peterson.
Yes.
And we're going to come back in just a moment. We have another wonderful guest coming up. Shanda Davis will be here. She's a filmmaker and she's an entrepreneur as well. And we're going to talk to her in just a moment. When we come back, you guys stick around.
Just want, oh my God, this small thing. See, because God, you know how to give good gifts. I wish I had somebody to your children. But now if I ask you for a fish, if my child asks for a fish and I know how to get a fish, that's good. I can give them the it of the fish. But my faith is not just for the fish. I want the river that the fish was swimming in.
All right, everybody, welcome back to this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show. Before I left off with Miss Peterson, I told you guys I'd have Miss Shander Davis. Shanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, today's show is just about women that are doing things in our society. Shanda certainly is one of those women, and she is also the CEO and founder of Progress Arts Group. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. I had a moment ago where I was trying to say that. I kept saying progressive and messing up. So Shanda corrected me. So I said it right that time.
Yes, you did.
So, Shanda, tell me a little bit more about this particular group that you have here.
The Progress Arts Group Incorporated is a nonprofit organization that creates opportunities and educate people. It educates and creates opportunities through the arts worldwide. So it's a local organization in Houston, but our programs and our projects reach around the world.
Okay. And so how long has that foundation actually been set in place?
The foundation was founded in 2003.
Okay.
And our two main initiatives that help us fulfill our mission are the PAM Project, which stands for Performing Arts Mentorship Project, and our Bayou City Inspirational Film Festival.
Okay. Now, the Bayou City Inspirational Film Festival, is that something that's coming up soon?
Yes, it's an annual event, and this year's festival will take place in October the 2nd through the 5th here in Houston, Texas.
Okay. So when you say a film festival, are there different independent filmmakers that take part in this particular event, or how exactly does that work?
Yes, it's an international film festivals, and we showcase projects and films from filmmakers around the world, educational, inspirational, and positive films and projects. So that's your short films, your feature films, your music videos, TV pilots, and animated projects.
Really? Wow. So that's a good way for people to get their vehicle out there so people can see what they're actually doing. Is that a lot like the Black Film Festival?
It's a little different. As I mentioned, we showcase educational, inspirational, and positive works.
Okay.
That sets us apart from some other film festivals. There's a big need for these type of projects, so our film festival helps bring about an awareness of these type of projects so that they can be integrated into society. There's a lot of negativity out there, but then our projects help to get people focused on the betterment of society.
Okay. Okay. So a lot of the projects that come through your organization are positive. Or is that like a part of the criteria that they have to be positive projects? Or inspirational?
Educational or inspirational. So when you talk about educational, that's anything, any type of a documentary. It could be health related. It can be talking about drug trafficking is something that we got something on. Human trafficking. Talking about the different products that are in people's foods, helping them be aware of that. Health, as well as religious. Everyone awareness.
Okay.
We get projects from around the world, different religions. Again, we don't, subscribe to believe everything that we receive, but it's about educating.
Okay.
People perish for lack of knowledge, right? So our projects help to educate you about what's going on in the world today.
Really? Okay. Okay. Now, speaking of projects in films, you've actually acted in several films, commercials, and different pilots and things of that nature. How long have you been in the field of acting?
Probably over 20 years as a writer, director, and producer, acting as well, but mainly in the background as a producer and a writer.
Okay. And so you've also written plays as well, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
One of the plays that I wrote was entitled Through the Storm, and we did several shows traveling from 2003 to 2005. And then we went on to create a film, an adaptation of it entitled Deceitful Storm.
Okay.
And that was picked up by Maverick Entertainment in 2008, and so it's been distributed ever since.
Wow.
Worldwide.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And that's always the goal of an artist, for their project to get out for the world to see it. And so I think it's fantastic that you're able to get it out to that next place. So it's available on DVD or?
Yes, DVD. You can Google Deceitful Storm, or you can go to Maverick Entertainment's website.
Okay.
Either one, yes.
And find that.
And find that.
Okay, okay. Now let me ask you this. Now I know you're a playwright.
Yes.
How does one who aspires to be a playwright take what is written and get it to the stage for the world to see it? What is the how does that work? I know that's a loaded question, probably.
It is. I think the first thing that a person needs to understand is the form. Understanding after they've already determined what the message is and what the purpose of whatever it is they're trying to communicate to the world is, then the form, the proper writing form, so that they can effectively communicate it. At this year's festival, we will have a class. We have a person that's coming out. Her name is Pilar Alessandra. She's internationally known, an LA script writer and script consultant.
Okay.
And so she'll be out on October the 2nd, I believe, or the 3rd. And she'll be teaching you how to do that exact thing, whether it's a novel, whether it's a play, whatever it is, a film. She'll take you how to get your thoughts from out of your head onto paper and then into a script or a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, first of all, understanding how to properly take those thoughts out and put them on paper.
Right. And I think that's always one of the big questions for people who aspire to be film writers or playwriters. I hear it all the time. I got this great story, and I want to write it. I want to get it on the stage, but I don't know what to do. And I always suggest, well, just start writing.
Yeah, first start writing.
Just
definitely.
start writing.
Mm-hmm.
You can always go back and revise
Exactly.
or make the necessary changes, but just begin the process. A lot of times, that's what we have to do. What other projects have you actually done?
From a film and television standpoint, we did a pilot called The Fellas, and I won't expound too much about it because we're going to be revamping that, and it'll
Okay.
be coming to you pretty soon. But that pilot, I can say this, it dealt with 4 guys who were common gentlemen, but they were dealing with some interesting issues.
Okay.
So when you look at your average guy who's a doctor or a banker or a lawyer, and on the surface they look like, they have everything together, but underneath they were dealing with some challenges, and they were real challenges that are impacting males today.
Okay.
So that project will be coming to you again soon, and that's one of the projects that I did. Again, as you mentioned, written several commercials and other things. But the festival is an opportunity for me to help other filmmakers get their projects out.
Yeah. I have to tell you this. When you're talking about the festival and other projects getting out, it's one of my dreams to produce a play. I've actually written a play that I've had under my belt for 6 or 7 years, maybe even longer than that. And it's a gospel stage play, but I really want to take it to the next level. And of course, myself, like other artists, I believe it's just the bomb. You know what I mean? And I think the world can truly be blessed by it once it actually hits the stage. So that's one of the things that I actually dream of myself. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute when we come back with more of the Ferrell Phelps Show and Miss Shander Davis. We'll be back.
Sky Trues custom eyewear has taken the world by storm. In only 8 months, Sky Trues has gained the eyes of many, including celebs like Big Sean, Little Flip, Destiny's Child, Soulja Boy, just to name a few. Through custom design, Sky Trues can put your imagination on your frames. I bring to you the next big thing in Houston, Sky Trues, created by Golden Boy, the musician, the artist, the entrepreneur, and grassroots marketing genius. Be inspired. Sky Trues, custom designed frames. Sky Trues.
I don't just want, oh my God, this small thing. See, because God, you know how to give good gifts. I wish I had somebody. To your children. But now if I ask you for a fish, if my child asks for a fish and I know how to get a fish, that's good. I can give them the it of the fish. But my faith is not just for the fish. I want the river that the fish was swimming in.
All right, welcome back to the Ferrell Phelps Show with my wonderful guest, Shander Davis. Shander, welcome back. Before we left off, of course, we were talking about the things that you do in the film festival that's coming up in October.
Yes, October 2nd through the 5th here in Houston, Texas.
Right here in the great city of Houston, Texas. Now, one of the things I want to touch on, when you have a dream or a vision for a particular project, a lot of times we have the dream, we have the vision, but we don't have the finances.
Right.
How does one get finances to get their projects funded to take it to the next level?
Again, it depends on the project. If it's a film, since we're talking a little bit about film, I would say definitely make sure you have, as we talked about earlier, getting your ideas down, but getting it into a good format that can paint the picture and the vision of what it is you're doing. Put together a marketing package. And you don't have to have a completed project to do that. It can be just a quick synopsis of what it is you're trying to do. One of the things that they use a lot is getting the buy-in or getting the support of some key talent.
Yeah.
For instance, if you have a celebrity or someone just who has a voice in the industry that could buy into your project.
Right.
That's something that you can use in your marketing package as well. But if you don't have that key person right away, just if you put together a good synopsis, talk a little bit about where you're trying to go, who you're trying to touch, the audience that's key right now. And then get that out. Of course, put together your budget.
Right.
Make sure you have a budget. If you don't know what a budget looks like, Google budgets, film budgets. There are all kind of different budgets out there, free resources to help you create a budget.
Yes.
But those are the key things that investors want to see. They want to know that you're serious about the project, that you do have a vision for it, and that you've put some thought into what it is you're trying to do. They're not going to invest money if they don't see that there's a plan or that you've put some thought into it.
Right. Which only makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many components involved when you're doing a production.
Yes.
A lot of times people just think, oh, I'll just do a production and I'll just get some actors. But there are so many things that has to happen prior to
Right.
the world seeing it, and with preparation, from stylists,
Right.
with clothes, with hairstylists, to makeup artists. It's so many things that's entailed. Now, in the event that you have coming up in October, are you going to talk about all the components that it takes to get things to that next level?
Well, this one specifically is kind of touching on filmmaking and then also any type of writing. But we do have a course that's going to talk a little bit about how to get your thoughts from your head to the paper to create a successful screenplay or script.
Yes.
So there are people that say, hey, I have an idea to do a book about, I don't know, this or that, or a play about this and that. Pilar Alessandra, and you can Google her. She's as I said, world-renowned LA script consultant.
Okay.
She'll be there to walk you through steps of taking that out of your head, that concept, and then translating it on paper so that
Okay.
you will be able to effectively communicate the message.
Yeah, and that's always the key. When you do a project, you want to be able to effectively communicate your message to those that are going to witness it or see it or view it or whatever you want to call it. You have someone else coming into the film festival as well that's a pretty big-time producer.
Right. I have
Also,
a
right?
lady coming out, and she's going to be talking about funding. So we talked about that earlier, how to get funding for your project. She will also be talking about scoring. So that's another piece. And what
Okay.
scoring is the music that goes along with your project. There are a lot of different things that go behind the scenes with that, making sure you have the rights and the releases for those to use the music. So she'll come in, she'll talk about that, and then how to put together your packages to get funding for those projects.
Yeah. So it seems like it's just a wealth of information that will be there in October
Yes.
for all of those that aspire to make films and be in production and things of that nature.
They'll be there. The films will be screening all day, and they are free of charge.
Really?
So there's a minimal charge for some of the workshops, but the films, you can come out and see these projects.
Okay.
Again, it's a platform for artists around the world to showcase their projects. Most of them are world premieres, and what that means is they've never
Been
been
seen.
seen before in the world. Some of them are just U.S. premieres. Maybe they've been seen in another country.
Okay.
We have projects from about 50 countries around the
Wow.
world. So it's a great opportunity for you to come out, be educated, inspired, uplifted, and just leave out better. Leave
Yeah.
out better than you came.
I think that is fantastic, man. And I'm really glad that you're bringing that into the city of Houston, because so many people need to learn more, number one, and you have so many people that are aspiring to do things and take their dreams and adventure to another level. So when they hear about this, and it's a free event, outside of the fact that if they want to go to some of the seminars, there'll be a minimal fee for that, I think, right?
Yes.
But, I mean, everything that you do is worth the investment if it's going to take you to the next level. So whatever the cost might be, I certainly recommend that you guys come out to support this event in October. How do the general public find out more about you?
You can go to our website at www.progressartsgroup.com Incorporated, and there you can learn more about the film festival as well as our performing arts mentorship project, our PAM project.
The PAM Project. That's an interesting name, the PAM Project. Performing Arts Mentorship. Performing Arts Mentorship. I certainly suggest that you guys go and check this out in October, and certainly look at the website to get more information on Shander Davis and what she's doing. And I'm certainly blessed by your presence today. and I certainly have learned more. And I'm going to ask you a whole lot more questions when we come off of camera in just a minute. Now, for more information on this show, you can certainly reach me at Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. That's Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel and you can see some of our previous shows. Just simply go to YouTube, type in the name Ferrell Phelps, and you will see all of our shows right there. All right, I hope you guys have enjoyed this edition as much as I have, and until next time, we will see you then. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the Ferrell Phelps Show just as much as I did. I hope you learned a little bit more about the film industry as well as relationships between mothers and daughters. You know, as always, I want you guys to be motivated, educated, and inspired by this show. And hopefully today some of that took place. All right, until next time, folks, we'll see you then.